Record. Okay, so welcome to Extrudes and Parts Studios. This is hardware design day 2. You guys just did this warm up, and let's get started with Extrudes. So last time I heard that it was really helpful if you had a document open and you were following along with the project the whole time. So, or just whatever I was doing, and you guys were kind of trying to move along with it. I think that worked for people. So if you guys want to do that, that would be ideal to help you out. So extrudes are pretty much how you turn a sketch from 2D into 3D, and it just makes it wider. So that's about it. So to make an extrude, you're going to open up the sketch and select the parts that you want to extrude, or select the parts of the sketch that you want to extrude, because you don't have to extrude the whole sketch, but I'll show you that in a second. You can select the extrude button or press Shift plus E, and then there's 4 different options for the extrude. And the different types of extrudes, there's different types of extrudes, which we can get into more. There's something in the window. That's okay. So let's make a document. Let's call it Extrudes plus Revolves. Art Studios training. Okay. So let's say we're making a sketch, and I'm gonna make that smaller so I don't have to have it covered. Okay. So let's make a rectangle and then fully define it. So let's say it's 10 by 4, and then maybe we can put a circle in the middle of it. That is 3 inches in diameter. And then, now that we have this very basic sketch, we can extrude it. I just did Shift E. Now, if I wanted, I could also press this extrude button. And since I hadn't manually selected any parts of the sketch, it's going to just extrude what it thinks I want to extrude, which is a rectangle with a hole in it. So I can use this arrow to increase or decrease the thickness. You can also see the depth here. So let's say I can set this to 3 inches. And then you can go into this tab, and this can show you all the different types of extrudes that you can do. There's symmetric that you can do without a different relative position, and then up to next, up to face, up to part, up to vertex, and through all are all relative to the part studio, which I can show you. But for now, let's just leave it as blind. Actually, let's leave it as symmetric. And then you're just going to press check, and your extrude is done. Now, if I wanted to have this hole filled in, I don't want it to be empty, then I can go into the extrude, and I would change the parts that I'm extruding. So right now I can't change it because actually I can, but a lot of times when this sketch is hidden, which a lot of times it is, because it just automatically does that sometimes, you won't be able to change anything on here. So you would unhide the sketch by pressing the little I button, and then you can deselect and select the parts that you want to sketch, or that you want to extrude, sorry. Now, if I wanted to do this before, I would select that in the sketch. So you highlight the inside parts that you want to extrude, and then you can extrude it. And you can see it does something like that. and I can still make this 3 inches. All right. And I'll change this back to symmetric. Okay. So you might have also seen that there is something, these 4 different parts up here. Now you can have an add function. Sorry, you can make a new extrude and you can add to an extrude, or you can remove from an extrude. And this intersect thing, we pretty much never use it. So don't worry about that. So when you add to an extrude, that would be if you extruded another thing off of this, and then it would make it part of it would be the same part, but it would be a separate extrude because it can only go to 1 thickness in an extrude. I think I saw that there was a chat message. I've never used, yeah, we pretty much never use intersect. I think I learned how to do it like once and then kind of just, it never worked out again. I'll just like that because I like it with the hole. Okay, cool. Next up we have revolves. You guys care if I do this full screen? All right. So they're similar to extrudes, but the dimensions are in degrees instead of inches. It makes it go around instead of out. So you pretty much just select a face and you'll revolve around the axis. So let's do one of those. Let's delete these. Start sketch. Oh, this is ugly. Let's do a sphere like I had in the slides. Let's make that 6 inches. Put a vertical line down the middle. And then here's a trick that I didn't show you last time, but you can actually trim parts of the geometry with this tool, trim. It's also the M key, and you can just take off that. It doesn't delete the whole circle, but it just deletes the part that's segmented by this line right here. So it'll take out parts that are segmented by points, which occur at the end of this line right here. So now we have this half circle of diameter 6. And then if we want to do a revolve, there's no hotkey for it, which makes me very sad. But so you have to go over here and click it. So it gives me an error, or actually it gives me some red here, saying that I haven't told it which axis to revolve around. I've selected this face, but there's no axis. So I want to click on this box right here, and then select the axis I want to revolve around, which is that one right there. And it makes a sphere. But that's only because it's a full extrude right now. If I wanted it to be partial, so if I wanted to do it in one direction, then I can change the number of degrees. So I can make it 90, or I can make it symmetric, which just means that it's going to go an equal amount of degrees in both directions. And there's different uses for this. It's mostly when you're making a part studio and you would want the extrude to be different, but yeah. And then in 2 directions, which also works for the extrude. I don't know if I showed you, I didn't show you 2 directions on the extrude, but it works the same as this. You're actually going to select 2 revolve angles. So I can decrease this side stays the same. Right? So I have to change 2 different angles to make the shape. But for now, let's just keep this symmetric at 90 degrees. Cool. So now we have like a quarter of a sphere that we've made with a revolve feature. Does that make sense to everyone? How we did that? I think someone told me wanted to like a yes in the chat. Okay. Do you guys know how to do the reactions, like the thumbs up thing? I think if you guys want to do that, to tell me that you like get things, then that could be helpful. So like, I don't know if it works, but yeah. All right, let's go back. Okay. So there's some tools that you can use on extruded features that are already made that'll change the the 3D shape of the extrude. So there's shells, which are going to clear out an area inside the extrusion to a specified thickness. So like here you can see that that I made this to a shell thickness of 0.25 inches. So it's cleared out the entire area so that each part of the shell, the outside of the extrude, is only a 1/4 inch. So I can show you how to do that here. So I'm going to select shell, and then faces to remove. I want to do this one. And then shell thickness, I can make bigger or smaller, just like that. And then if I make it hollow, it actually closes this face, but the inside is still empty. So like if I did and I haven't taught you guys this yet, but if I did a section view, should be here. Is it not? Configuration. Section view. Oh, okay. Well, if I did a section view and I like took away some of the part and I hid some of the part, then it would be empty on the inside. Okay. Why doesn't that work? That should be here. Section view. Why didn't I see that? Okay. Nice. It's acting weird, but it's fine. I'll turn this off. Okay. And oh, that's because I didn't have the shell applied. Okay. Yeah, I undid my shell. So I'll make it hollow. Hollow this part. Check. Then turn on the section view. And it's in degrees for whatever reason, but that's okay. But you can see that when it's sectioned, the part is actually hollow. There's nothing inside. So the shell worked. Delete that. Okay. There's also fillets and chamfers. It looks like it's spelled fillet if you've ever taken French. And normally I would tell you to call it that because it annoys Kyle. But since he's not here, I'm going to just say call it a fillet. And there's chamfers, which are pretty much, which are very similar. And I'll show you guys how to do that. So for a fillet, you're going to want to, I've forgotten where the part is, but I usually just press Shift F. And I think it's this one, right? And then you're going to want to select the edges that you want to round. So like this one, I think it is loading. Okay. So you can see right here that it's rounded off the edge and it's a circular cross section. So I can make it conic, or I can just make it curvature. We pretty much always use circular, but if you want to, understand what it means when it says like circular fillet, just imagine that you're taking a circle of the radius that you specify, and I can make it bigger or smaller, and you're making a tangent to these two lines, and then you're just cutting off everything outside of that. And that's what the fillet is. Okay. And then this whole tangent propagation thing you don't need to worry about. But that's pretty much what that looks like. So a lot of times we'll do that to edges to make them just rounded, which you want to do a lot because on CNC parts you can't really have like sharp edges, so you're going to want to fill it so that it can move in a curve instead, or something like that. A chamfer is similar, but instead of a curved edge, yeah, things tend to look better with fillets too. So instead of a curved edge, it's a flat edge. So if I select this, it's just like that. It's just a flat edge. And there's a lot of different things you can edit it with. It's like I can change how long each of these distances are, or I can do it like a distance and like a certain angle. Anything to really just make the fabrication team have like a harder time doing it is all really fun, but usually we just keep it equal distance. So it's pretty simple. But if Caleb comes up to you and he says like, give me a challenge, I want to make something look hard, then you can mess around with those and he'll be working on it for a while. Yeah. So you guys can see how we did the chamfer right there. Okay. If you guys understand fillets and chamfers, why don't you put something that says like, I like doing fillets and chamfers in the chat or something like that. I'll bet you guys are all doing it right now. Okay. That's fine. Does anyone not understand it? Or does anyone want me to go over it again? Okay, you're still trying. Yeah. Okay. Is everyone like following along with this? You're doing like the cool. That's great. Okay. Should I give you like a minute to finish up, or should we move on? I think I'm gonna keep going. So chat. Maybe have others share the screen. Okay. Sure. Does anyone want to explain to me how they've done a fillet or a chamfer? Someone want to volunteer, or do I have to pick someone? No? Okay, how about Ryan? Do you want to show us what you're doing? Says, I don't know how to do fillets and chamfers. Okay, that's okay. would it be good if I went over it again? Yeah, okay. So I'll just delete that. So a fillet or a chamfer is something to round off or like dull this edge right here. And it can actually be done on any of the edges, but I just wanted to do it on a flat edge to make it seem simpler. So I'll select the fillet tool. This is when I'm out of the sketch and I've already made my 3D part. And I'm going to go into entities to fillet. I can select that. I can even select this or this, but for now, I'll just keep it to this because I want to round this edge. So I'll call it circular. And then when I increase the radius, the curve gets bigger. And when I decrease the radius, it gets smaller. Does that make sense now? Yeah. Okay, cool. And it's the same thing with chamfers. You're just going to do it. It's just going to be flat instead of curved. Okay. Are you comfortable with sharing your screen now and kind of showing us your thing that you're working on? Like if not, that's fine, but okay, that's fine. How about Pranesh? Do you want to show us your thing?
Well, my OnShape thing's on a different computer. I could use my camera.
Okay. Caleb, I'll show how to use fillets in the robot cab later when we do the demonstration. Okay. So, yeah. Do you want to do that, actually? I'll stop the share so that people can pin your screen or something.
Okay, wait. So, what do I do?
So you have it on a different laptop?
Yeah, on a different computer.
Oh, okay. Okay, it might not work so well then.
Yeah, I could bring it up on this right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else? So I know Marcus was able to share with us last time, so I kind of wanted to get someone else. So how about Joe? I haven't heard from you today. Do you want to show us your what you're doing with fillets and chamfers? Okay, that's fine. What about Ashton?
I would love to, except I got really lost and I'm trying to figure out how to. I tried to make a circle, a sphere, and now I have a trumpet thing, so now I'm really confused.
Trumpet thing. Okay, I'm not sure how you got to that, but I can show you how to make the sphere again.
That'd be lovely.
Actually, do you want to share your screen and then I can show you?
I
can help you out.
How do I do that? It's on a.
I'll make you a co-host.
Oh.
Okay.
It's on another computer, so it's gonna be really awkward. So I have to pick up the.
Got another monitor or a whole other?
And then flip it around.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Oh.
I guess a lot of people are doing that. Yeah, it's hard to share your screen when you don't have your computer. I guess we'll just go back and do this again. So I'll show you like kind of quickly how to do the revolve again. So remember what we did is we made a circle and then we put this line through the middle of it and then we trimmed it with this.
How do you put a line through the center again?
So you'll go to the origin and then it'll automatically want to go vertically, and then you can move your mouse up to the top and click and then bring it down.
Thank you.
And then when you go into the revolve, you just choose the face that you want to revolve, and then you choose the revolve axis. And then the type of revolve that you want to do. And then you can like mix up all these things and make it really cool. So like if I want to put a shell here, that, and then maybe I want to do like a fillet in here. Like that would be pretty cool, I think. So these are just like the kind of things you can do when you have 3D parts. All right. Ashton, are you able to do it now? Are you able to like?
I'm trying.
Okay.
It's kind of awkward because I don't own the computer, so the settings are all messed up and funky.
I see.
Everything's backwards.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Cool. Daphne, I know can't use her mic, but I'm not sure if she can screen share. I don't know. Can you, or do you want to? Daphne, you can put it in the chat if you'd like. Using a different monitor too. Yeah, that's fine. I guess we'll keep the stuff to my screen then. All right. We can work on this a little bit more later. I think I want to move on and talk about some part studios now. So part studios are a collection of parts that you're going to model off of each other. So you would only want two parts in the same part studio if they're related, which can extend pretty far. So like in this case, if I had this tube that had a slot in it, and I wanted this bolt looking thing that I came up with, I'm not really sure what it is, but it's modeled off of the width of this slot right here. So that's why I would want this to be in the same part studio as this slotted tube. And part studio should only contain one of each part. So in an assembly, you can take the different parts, make multiple of them, and then put them around the assembly. But in the part studio, you only want to make one of them to make sure that it's organized. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. So part studios are kind of a new concept if you've done other CAD stuff before, like SolidWorks or Fusion 360, I don't think have part studios. So you pretty much just design each part in a separate thing, and you can sort of do it by like with multi-part modeling, but it doesn't really work the same as OnShape. But it's great because you can model stuff together really easily, and I like it. So some other features are you can use the faces of the parts as sketching surfaces for new parts. So like I used this face right here, this top face, to sketch this bolt right here. And again, it's important to remember it's not an assembly. And I know you don't know what an assembly is yet, but you don't want to be, you really don't want to make multiple parts because things are going to get very unorganized. So, I'll do that next. So to make a part studio, well, you actually start off with a part studio in your, when you make a new document, you start off with one part studio and one assembly. But to make a new one, you're going to go down here, click this plus button, and you're going to do create part studio. And there's a bunch of different things you can do here, like making an assembly or a drawing or folder, or you can import a part, or you're going to make a part studio here. And then you can actually rename these. And I'll rename this to Art Studio Tutorial. And then if I wanted to make a part, or actually two parts, that are modeled off of each other, I would start by modeling the first one. Let's make it a rectangle with holes in it. Classic. And let's put a let's put some mirror lines here. And then you can put 1, 2 circles here and make these equal. And dimension them, say 2 inches apart. And then 1 inch down, and maybe call it 0.75 from the edge. These are still not, oh, I didn't, let's make these a 1/4 inch, which is very small compared to the size of them. And then we can mirror these across these two lines. Okay, so now if we go to extrude it, let's call it 2 inches and make it symmetric. Yes. And we have that. So we wanted to make another part, and I guess we'll just do this like slot, this bolt thing again, or a semi-bolt. We can make, so to make a sketch based off of this part, you're going to click on the surface and then make the new sketch. And if you press the normal key, it'll actually put your normal to this part. So I'll just do it right here. Let's make it like a hex bolt or something. And you can model off of these like holes or sides from the first part studio, but you can't use them unless you do a very specific thing that I'll show you in a bit. That, and call these vertical, and make this 0.5. Okay. And then if I wanted to extrude this, it's going to automatically select add as the extrude option because it's off of this space. Now, if I wanted these to be 2 separate parts, I would click new instead, and it'll change the color. And I can make this like 0.5 inches. So I have that now. So if I wanted, actually, I think these are on, this part is on the next slide. If I want to sketch off of other parts, like I just did, you can also use the U key to selected geometry and then make that a part of the new sketch. So if I go back into this sketch and I want to select this circle and I press U, that's going to be a part of the sketch. You may not have noticed it because it didn't really change like in color or anything, but it's like inserting this circle into the sketch when it can only be referenced off of last time. So now it's going to have a hole in it because that's what OnShape thinks I want to do. Now if I went into the extrude and I selected this hole, it could fill it up or I could undo it. But I have that option now because it's part of the sketch and I did the use key. Does everyone understand how to do that? I don't know if I told you, that was the U. It's called the use tool, but it's the U key that I'm pressing. I don't know if I mix those up. But yeah, you can see like how these parts are modeled. And if I wanted one of these for each separate hole, I wouldn't make one for each hole. I would only make one and then put it in the assembly 8 times. Right? Does everyone gets that? Okay.
Really quick, Ben, just to understand what you would use that block for. Is this like part of a larger picture, or are these like modules of the robot?
Oh, this block, like specifically, isn't anything. It's just a random part. But okay. But you can. No, I wasn't actually making a robot part. But like, this is kind of just an example of something that's modeled off of another part. We're gonna do robot parts today, though. So, you know.
So you'd need to use these. You'd need to use these to make other similar parts.
Yeah.
That are actually robot parts. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's do a quiz. What's wrong with this part studio? What could I change about it that would make it right? You guys want to unmute or put it in the chat? Anyone? Oh, 2 chats.
I think I heard you say that the Part Studio is not required to be downloaded now, and I might have missed part of what you were explaining at the beginning. Since we don't have any answers, do you want to repeat what you said about Part Studio at the beginning?
Oh, yes, sure. So, oops. Okay, so part studios are a collection of parts that are modeled off of each other. So, it's just a bunch of parts, and it should only contain one of each part. That was kind of the hint for the thing. So, Ashton, I saw you said that like there's no dimensions or references. Okay, yeah, I guess there aren't any, but you don't really need any because these are 2 of the same part, which is what Marcus said. So yeah, the blocks are duplicated, and this is a part studio. You only want one of these, and then you're going to make another one when you put it into an assembly.
A quick thing. You don't usually use dimensions and references outside of a sketch. So you notice like after it's extruded, you're not going to be able to see the dimensions unless you go back into the sketch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Are you guys all ready for the demonstration / project thing that we're going to be working on for the next few classes? I'll take that as a yes. Hopefully. Yeah, I think you guys will be prepared. We're not going to be doing all of this today, so you don't need to put in all of these different parts or do the gearboxes yet, but we are going to be doing these tubes, the gussets, and the belly pin, and probably not the pattern part in the belly pin because that makes my computer lag and I don't want to be hosting a Zoom meeting while doing that. So, okay, let's jump right into it. What does the chat say? I really can't think of that. Yeah. Okay. Let's put this into demonstrations and then we'll make document and we'll call it training drive training model. Create a public document. Fun. Okay. So this is kind of like pretty important. So if you guys are still, you might have to leave soon because I have an incredible amount of homework. Yeah, don't we all? But that's fine, Ashton. Yeah, that's fine. But we'll have this on video, so it should be fine. Okay, so we're gonna make a sketch on the top plane to start it off. And then we're going to make some rectangles to be the tubes for the tubing. And we'll just put these all together. And I know you said you shouldn't have multiple parts that are the same in the same sketch, but these, I did this wrong, but these are different because they could have holes in them that are different on different sides when they're attached to different things. So they look the same now. I'm just going to restart this. I didn't do this right. They look the same now, but when you get into more complex robot CAD, it's going to start being different because you're going to want to have different things attached to it. So that gives it holes. I'll make these vertical. And then one more right here. I want all these dimensions to be 2. Yeah. Okay, bye, Ashton. Sorry, no, we want this to be 1. And then we'll extrude them to 2. Did I do this wrong again? Oh my god. Wait, let me just delete this rectangle. And then move this over. Right, we want these on the inside and these on the outside. Okay. I don't know, I'm not thinking clearly right now. I don't know why. I'll just make this one. And I could put like, what do I call it, construction lines and make them all equal. But then I'd have to like dimension them all to be like constructed and stuff. That's kind of not what I want to do right now. So let's make these, let's make this, actually not that part, but this dimension right here, we can call this 22. And this dimension right here, we can call it 24. No, this one's 26. Okay, this is still not defined. I want these to lock up there. Cool. So now, when we extrude it, it's going to make 4 different, actually no it won't, but we're going to want to select 1 and extrude it to 2 inches. And we're going to want to do this for all of them because we want 4 different parts. This seems to be new instead of add. Okay. Check. Oh, a bunch of people have to leave. Okay. I'm just going to keep doing this and recording it. And then I'll just put it up later. Even if there's no one here, I'll still record this. Okay. The next thing, yeah, I know this went a lot over time, so it's fine. I told you it would only go to 7, and it has gone much longer. So if you guys need to leave, feel free to. Okay. We're going to use our shell feature and just push through this. And then we'll call this 1/16 of an inch. And we also want this one to be the same shell mount. And then we'll do a different shell. We'll hide those 2 parts. And we're going to shell these to only an 1/8 inch. Because these need to be thicker so that they can hold the different parts. Show all parts. Does this go all the way through? It doesn't. I didn't select the other side, please. Okay. The next thing we're going to want to do is make a sketch on here that's going to put holes all along this row. We'll make this centered and call it 0.191, which is the dimension for a very common bolt that we use. We'll put this 1/2 inch on the side, and then we're going to pattern it. Linear pattern, not in that direction. Make this 2, and then the distance is going to be like 24. That's a little far. 23. Right on. Okay. And then in this direction, we'll make it like, I don't know, 40. As many as it takes to get to the end. And we want this to be 1/2 inch because that's the whole pattern that we use. It looks like we need a few more. Let's call it 48. Okay, 47. Right, those holes. And then we can also do a hole pattern here. And the reason why we do these hole patterns in a separate sketch instead of just in these sketches is because when you make these in the original sketch, when you do the shell, it puts shells around each individual hole, which is very annoying. And you have to like go in and shell each hole as you go in. So we're just doing this separately just to make it a little easier ourselves. Call this 0.5, and then we're going to do the same sketch pattern except in the other direction. It's going to be 0.5 again, and then this is same, right? There it is. Okay. Then this one. This to be, what did we make it? 26. No. Okay. 24 is how far it's going to go. Where did that dimension go? Here. Okay. And then all the holes are there. Select that and then go into the remove function. Please go in the other direction. Oh, and this is merge scope, which is another thing that I think I kind of missed. But merge scope in a part studio is essentially telling you which parts the extrusion is going to affect. So if I'm doing a remove extrude, it's going to only affect the parts that I put in the merge scope. So if I had a part that it was removing through, but it wasn't part of the merge scope, it wouldn't remove anything from it. So I'm going to select all of these parts as being part of the merge scope. And we'll use one of these different things, the through all. There's a chat message. All right, Marcus has to go too. That's fine. And we have our holes. I think I'm just going to do the gussets and then call it there. The gussets, which are the things that are going to hold these together, I'm going to want to use these holes here. So I'm trying to find the right amount so it's even. I think that's good. So we can use those holes. I press the U key, and then I can get a line. And I think we talked about the slot feature earlier, and this is when you're actually going to use it. It's this thing, and you just select a line and it will move around a hole. So I might want to make this a little thicker. Yeah. Okay. And then I'll put a line that is just like that. And we'll make a tangent to both of these curves that's defined. And I just realized that this isn't even on both sides. Or let's get rid of these. And I did not make this line extend to the last hole. Okay. We'll just do this slot again. And then check. line that is tangent to both of these curves so that it encloses. And we also, oh, I guess I didn't make this coinciding with it. Okay, now we can extrude this. We want it to be selected as new because it's a new part. And I think it's 0.09. Is that right? Yes. And that is the gusset part. Oh. Just clear that up. Okay. So now that we have that, I think that's all I'm going to do today. Cool. I'm going to stop the recording. Where do I go to do that? No, stop the recording.